The United States may be preparing a second aircraft carrier strike group near Iran, and this time it may not be a bluff. When Washington moves two floating airbases into a single theater, diplomacy usually comes with a ticking clock. Right now the line between negotiation and war in the Middle East is thinner than it appears. Officials close to President Donald Trump have openly discussed deploying another carrier group to the region. The USS Abraham Lincoln is already present anchoring U.S. naval power near the Gulf. A second carrier, potentially the USS George Washington from Asia or the USS Gerald R. Ford from the Atlantic, would create a strategic pincer. This approach reflects Trump's long-standing doctrine: maximum military pressure to force concessions at the negotiating table. He has referenced last year's airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities as proof that prior red lines were not symbolic. The message is direct failure to reach agreement could mean repetition. Washington wants a comprehensive deal covering both nuclear enrichment and ballistic missile capabilities. Tehran rejects that framing, insisting uranium enrichment is a matter of sovereign right. Iranian officials signal transparency, but categorically refuse to abandon enrichment. That refusal creates a dangerous feedback loop: pressure escalates, pride hardens, compromise narrows. Meanwhile, military preparations suggest contingency planning is no longer theoretical. The question is no longer whether force is possible, but how calibrated it might be. Satellite imagery now shows missile systems at Al Udeid shifting from semi-fixed launchers to mobile platforms. Mobility changes the equation: faster response, harder targeting, greater survivability under counterstrike. Al Udeid was previously targeted by Iranian retaliation, making force protection a visible priority. Additional aircraft and equipment have been quietly distributed across regional bases. The Pentagon appears to be preparing not only for deterrence, but for rapid escalation if talks collapse. The Middle East is entering a phase best described as armed diplomacy. While negotiation channels continue in Oman, carrier strike groups remain positioned within operational range. This dual-track posture, talk and prepare, reflects a calculated risk management strategy. Some policymakers argue that limited force could reset strategic leverage before Iran crosses irreversible thresholds. The precedent of North Korea looms large once nuclear capability becomes entrenched. Options narrow dramatically. For Washington, preventing that outcome in the Gulf is framed as a strategic imperative. Yet history offers cautionary examples of states without nuclear weapons that were later attacked or destabilized. Tehran has simultaneously advanced its missile program, strengthening deterrence through reach and payload capacity. Iranian retaliatory strikes last year demonstrated an ability to project calibrated force against regional adversaries. If deterrence fails on either side, the escalation ladder becomes dangerously short. Beyond military positioning lies a deeper calculation: whether internal pressure inside Iran could alter the balance. Periodic protests are often interpreted in Western capitals as signals of systemic fragility. Some strategists believe external pressure could amplify domestic dissent and accelerate political fracture. The model is familiar: economic strain fuels unrest, unrest weakens legitimacy, the system buckles under cumulative stress. Yet history shows that external intervention can just as easily consolidate nationalist support. Iran's conventional military and Revolutionary Guard retain capacity for sustained retaliation despite air vulnerability. Air power alone rarely dismantles entrenched security institutions without elite division at the top. If Iran's political leadership remains cohesive, rapid regime transformation becomes unlikely. Escalation also carries global economic consequences: energy corridors and maritime transit routes would be exposed. Even limited disruption in the Gulf could ripple through global markets within days. A failed campaign would damage U.S. credibility and intensify doubts about crisis management capacity. For that reason, some analysts describe a potential strategy of strike and reassess. A short, concentrated air campaign could test resilience without committing to prolonged occupation. If Iran absorbs the shock and maintains cohesion, Washington could revert to sanctions and containment. In this calculus, the risk is not only war but miscalculation under the illusion of control.